guess he comes a little late. I guess he'll be here. I want to welcome everybody here. I guess probably the first thing that we need to do here is approval of July the 11th to 24 minutes. See page 2 and page 3 on your copy there.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, we got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda items is Minnis Road property. Okay, if last week on this is a property behind the building that we're fixing to build there on Minnis Road, the fire department. That's the acreage that we have left behind there. And but anyway, I got a quote. Some of you, everybody have a copy of that quote. It's an individual quote. It's for instead of, I think it was like $61,000 for the whole thing to improve that property and make a pad there for a building if we had to have another building. And I had it broke down in $25,000, less than $25,000. And if this wouldn't, you wouldn't have to bid it out. So anyway, one of the quotes was removal of the stumps, removal of the trees first, then the removal of the stumps, then to build the pad. And so we do have a quote. Does everybody have a copy of that quote? Mayor, do you have a copy of that?
No, he ain't got it.
Okay.
Now, on this quote, it's just for the pad, 23,000 something.
No, you got 3. Let's see here.
I only have one.
You got stump removal trees. You got the stumps. Then you got the pad.
Right.
Then you got the whole. If you want the whole thing, if you want the whole quote, was it's there too.
You don't say nothing about the stump.
We only have
One quote.
the erosion control.
Okay. Okay, well, let me go over it here. We got, there's about 3 things that you have to do there, and one of them is removal of the trees, and the grind, and let's see, Minnis Road clearing and grinding bid proposal. Okay, the moving of the stumps, the moving of the trees, and building the pad. And all of them together come out around $615,000. Wasn't that what it was? Yeah. No, 61,000. What am I saying? 600. $61,500. $61,500. That's basically what it come out to be. That was a little high, wasn't it? But anyway,
Hey, Howard, have you got that broke down, how much for each?
yeah, okay, I was going to tell you here. Let me pull it out here. Okay, we got, will provide labor materials. Let me read this thing here. Clearing and grubbing bid proposal, $13,800. That's the load and haul of stumps, load and haul of brush, and disposal fee. And clearing the trees is cut down trees, clear brush, and dig up stumps, $18,400. Then you got cut pad to grade, haul off the disposal of dirt, and final grading of pad, $23,800. And so that's I had them split up, but the whole thing I think eventually would be about 100. It's 130. It end up about 130 foot by 135 foot pad.
Mr. Chairman, do you have those quotes? Because I only have one quote here for $18,400. Could we see the other ones?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah. be better, I guess. I don't know why they get you to do that. Let's see if that in here. Fourth, page fourth. Okay. Okay, anyway, that would end up giving us a pad about 130 by 135 foot. There's more room than that back there, but that's basically the length that it would go, and the depth that it would go, and I don't know what y'all think about it. And what reason I brought this up is the fact that once we get the building built there for the fire department, then if we decide to do something with that property back there, well, it'd be hard to get the equipment back there and try to get something done. So that's the reason I brought this quote up, and I'll just let that committee discuss and make up their mind on that as soon as we get those quotes back. And Mayor, while we're waiting on that, can you give us a report on the building?
Talk about the new building. Last time I talked to them, they were in the process of actually ordering the building. That's probably occurred by now, and of course, I'm not sure how long the delivery is. But while the delivery is coming on the building, they'll be doing the grading and pouring the pad, getting it ready. But sometime in the spring, probably.
In the spring?
Mm-hmm.
Start any earthwork or anything?
So they may start on dirt work soon as the weather breaks, but no date was given on that. But they'll do the dirt work and the pad while the building is on order, and they were in the process of getting it ordered last week. They got color and all those kinds of questions answered.
They have him build it. Now the total on that, I believe, should come out to 60, right at 1,500. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that for right now?
Way I got it, it comes out 56,000
Okay, I didn't
on
add
them
it up. I
three
said-
numbers. On them three numbers.
I think the quote on
There's
it
a
again was around
Oh,
61,000.
they a fourth number too.
The fourth, yes, sir.
Okay, I got you.
Mr. Chairman, how many bids did we have on this?
Three,
3 bids?
one for the tree removal, one for stump removal, and one for the pad.
How many within each scope of work did we have? Does that make sense? So for instance, the pad, how many bids did the pad receive? For the 3 different bids, and we're looking
No.
at,
No, I got these separate bids because as long as it's under $25,000, you don't have to bid them out. Get quotes on them. I got the quote. I got the quote on this, and if you want to bid it, that's fine. I don't care what, but I do have a quote. I brought this back so we'd have something to go by.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I understand that these are through 4 different parts of a job,
Right,
but it's all the same job.
right.
So that's my curiosity would be to our county attorney is because it's all the same job and how the law reads. I understand what you're saying about the 20 if it's under $25,000, but because it's encompassing the same job, would that not would that make it be all, even though they're separated out for the different jobs in that, then I understand that. But to me, I'm just curious if it has to be bid because of it being the same
Yeah.
job and what the law
That
says
would probably
on
be
that.
a question we'd have to ask the county attorney
My-
and let her give us.
My next question is this in the is to the county mayor, is this in the strategic plan of this property and of the fire hall redevelopment and movement? And is this something that fire services is wanting and that the county sees as a good fit to do this?
The simple answer is no. Our next priority on this project is to get the parking lot that's been built paved and concreted. Tree line request has never come from us or the fire department. Not saying it couldn't happen, but once the parking lot settles and before the building is finished that's being built, we've got to get that parking lot more than likely concreted so that those fire trucks, when they're having training, can actually park on it. That's our top priority, and that's estimated to be at about $80,000.
My last question, Mr. Chairman, that I have is, and I haven't added the numbers, but I think someone said it's $56,000. Is this $56,000 in the budget currently, or where would that money come from? Is it currently in the fire budget or in the mayor's budget, or
The total on it's 61.5.
61,000?
Yes, sir.
500. I'm just curious where that money, if we have that money in a line item somewhere that's available to be spent at this time.
I would say we'd pass it on to finance and go from there. Of course, the mayor would have something to say in that, but, you know, I don't know the way y'all look at it. The mayor looks different, I know, than what I look. But, if you're gonna do something like that, build a pad in case you ever need another building, why, it'd be ready to build, but if you did it after you got the fire department built, then you've got problems of getting it done. So, I'd say do it before you do the building, and, you'd have it done, and you can always use the property. 130 foot by 135 foot is a pretty good piece of property cleared and ready to build on. So, anyway, that's up to this committee, what they want to recommend to the finance committee, and y'all want to do. But I did get those quotes on it, so we'd have some idea of what it costs to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we move this item, let me see what you call it, Minnis Road property agenda item, to another meeting after we get clarification from our county attorney based on if this needs to be quoted and bid out for the entire job or if each individual part of the job can be bid out. Because I won't make a recommendation to move this to finance to find funding for it until we know that it actually can be done this way, or if it needs to be bid out the proper way. And so I guess my request would be if we could send this to the county attorney's office to ask her those questions and then allow her to come back and we could schedule another date. I do understand too that this was done before Christmas, December 18th, and that this quote is only valid for 30 days. But I would ask that, since I believe you're the one who got this quote, if we would either reach out to this construction company here and see if they would extend that quote for another
I did this morning.
21 days.
I did this morning. It's still good. But
So
I can reach out to them.
That would be my recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor, say something.
That was a motion. Sorry.
Is that a motion?
That was a motion, is to move this agenda item to another meeting
We got
after
a motion then to move
clarification.
it to the-
I would second Commissioner Rogers' motion, and I would just add, on top of that, I think the vision and the conversation of it is really good, but I like what Commissioner Rogers is saying in terms of strategic plan, and following what the mayor is looking at. If we have a strategic plan that says, hey, X needs to get completed, then we follow up with Y and Z. We also want to look at the economics of it. I mean, I think that's, you say 80,000, is that right, Mayor, on the partnership? So you're looking at $140,000. So we need to follow that strategic plan would be my thoughts. And so I like where Commissioner Rogers is on this in terms of let's not put the cart before the horse, and let's move forward strategically, especially with such a large sum of money. So I would second Commissioner Rogers' motion.
If I could add on that, the estimate we've got is 87,000 to concrete it. That's not budgeted either, but that's why we haven't moved on it, but we hope to have it budgeted in the new budget. In the meantime, Tom, road superintendent, is looking at an estimate to pave it. We've not had much luck with paving for fire departments. Big trucks just mess it up unless you really, really do it thick. But he is looking at an estimate to do it that way. So we'll have an estimate both on concrete and paving, and if it gets budgeted, then we would go through the bid process to do the parking lot. That's the plan at this point, just so you'll know timeline. That puts us in the summer. It's settled over the winter, and the building won't be ready until late summer anyway, so that would put us right on target as far as the parking lot's concerned.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I totally understand what you're saying too, and the fact that if the property gets built up, it would be much difficult to tear down those trees and pad it and move all that stuff out. And I totally understand where you're coming from and wholeheartedly support that. I just want to make sure that fire services and the mayor's office, because this is a department that the mayor is over, that they have their input on this as well to make sure that this is what needs to be done and for future growth as well, because this is where our new headquarters will be, and we want to make sure that we're growing responsibly. So I do support what you're doing. I just want to make sure legally that we're dotting all of our I's and crossing all of our T's.
Oh,
Am I correct in saying that the money has to come out of the fire fund, not the general fund? Strictly.
Yes and no. Usually we could get by with other capital line, but ideally, yes. And that's why the fire budget does not have it at this time, maybe in the new budget. But that is a possible fallback at that time too, is the capital.
So then it appears to me it's unbudgeted right now, and the growth of the fire budget will increase, but not, I doubt that it will increase to the amount that we're talking about both projects. I just wanted to bring it up. I don't have a vote in it. Thank you.
okay, any more questions? Go ahead, Louis.
I'm not on the committee, but I do have thoughts about it. You look at where we're building our new building and everything, and looking at all that's going on out there for the next 6 months or so until they get that building built. But I think Howard's on the right side of the fence here in the sense that this will be needed. It's just a matter of time. And with emergency people moving to their new building eventually, they may need that for extra space. That's the problem I see. The new fire hall will not, in my opinion, will not carry all the stuff that we're going to be needing at that site at one time or another. And I think Mr. Thompson's got the right idea. Let's go ahead and plan ahead and have the pad ready so that when we do need to build or place a building there of some type, if it's just a building that they can store stuff in, or it could possibly be additional parking eventually if we have a lot of cars. I don't know how that parking lot's going to be shaped, Mayor, when you get through out there. But if you know, it could be used. It's good to have a lot of uses. We'll put it that way. And I think in the future, whether it's now or 6 months from now, I think we need to do it just to have that available. you know. Thank you.
Okay, Louis. Anybody else? But doing, my thoughts too, and the only reason I brought this up to begin with was the fact that once you have the building built there for the fire department, then you go in behind it and you're gonna have grade levels that's gonna be off. You're gonna have a lot of problems if you don't do it before. And if you're gonna do the grading, it's best to do it before and let them do the grading for the building. But anyway, I just think it's, like you said, planning ahead. And if you've got a pad there, we've got a little more land than that up there. It goes on out behind the other parking lot if you wanted more land. But that goes behind the fire station. That part there goes behind the fire station and over to our property line. So, and it's 130 by 135 pad. Yeah, so you could build a pretty good sized building on there if you need it for storage or whatever. So anyway, that's something we'll ask the county attorney about the bids on that and see if you can bid it out separate. And I had it bidded out separate, and then and of course they come back. They said, "Well, add that together, and then that's a bid." But so that's just up to what this committee wants to do.
Motion
Okay.
and a second.
Okay, what's your motion?
The motion again, the motion is to move this to a different date of the Building and Land Committee after the county attorney rules on if doing this type of bid process is acceptable and not having to, or this type of quoting process is acceptable and not having to bid it out due to it being one job.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor to have a second.
We had a second.
We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Or we'll give that to the county attorney. So we've got a report on the building. So we're talking about next year probably, or later, probably the first next year before we ever get in it.
Well, contractually, it's due late summer.
Yeah.
Once they do the dirt work and the pad, get what little plumbing goes in the pad, then the building will go up fairly quick. So all of that's probably going to happen mostly in the summer. But it's due July-ish, I believe, something like that of next year.
Okay, we had a copy, we've got copies of the building, the type building they're going to build and the size of it. But there's a couple of things there that we mentioned that has not been re-mentioned, I guess. And that was that in the sleeping part of it, on the left side of the building facing it, not on the part that stores vehicles, but the office and the sleeping part of it had one restroom. And I checked with Joe and them at one time there and asked him, I said, listen, one restroom and one shower is not going to do. If we got ambulance service out there and everything else, I said, you're going to have boys and you're going to have women and men. And I said, there's no reason why we can't take one of those 8 offices back there and make another shower and a restroom out of it. And so I asked them to look into that, and also the storage space up above I guess the conference room, where they decide where they sleep at, and build it to where we could store upstairs there. Probably 18-foot ceilings, and there'd be plenty of room to have some storage upstairs if we build it to do so. So I did bring that up to them. Of course, I didn't bring it before this committee, but I did mention to Joe and them to see if that could be done. So I haven't heard back on that. Could you check on that for us, Mayor?
I can only answer from memory now. It's been several months. Those things I know were discussed at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was determined that the one, what do you call it? Both people can go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
unisex bathroom was sufficient for the size training room that was there. There's nobody, I say nobody, there's only a few people that are there daily. But when they have ambulance training, there's more than that. But the bathroom was sufficient for the size room and the people that it would hold. It is designed, I believe, from memory to be able to put the second floor on there once we get ready to do that. And that's all from memory. I don't want to say too much and not be accurate with it now, but I'm pretty sure it's just the one bathroom.
Okay.
But keep in mind, this is a garage and a training facility. Ambulance people aren't there daily. They're there, what, monthly at them? Twice a year. Fire is there probably monthly. That's why the parking lot is so important, because they have to bring their fire trucks with them. But anyway, the training room that we have now will be duplicated there. Hopefully the parking lot will be duplicated there, but it's not a daily thing. And the offices are for the battalion chiefs, but only one battalion chief is on duty at a time. So you've really got your fire chief, your operations chief, your training guy, and one battalion chief. Off the cuff, 4 people daily that are there. It's not on a daily basis, not that often. Does that kind of make sense? I mean, just to remind you what it
Well-
really is: a training facility and garage, and of course storage.
The only thing I think about when it comes to a restroom, if you had it stubbed in or plumbed to where you could put another restroom in it. If you don't, then you've got a lot of problems when you're messing with concrete and block walls when it comes to putting another restroom in. So I don't know why it couldn't be looked at and maybe at least plumbed in to where you could put another restroom there. Have the water and the sewage or whatever needs to be there. And we've got to remember too, that's a storm shelter too, tornado storm shelter. And
The fire station next door is,
yeah, the next door.
and the
we
fire
have-
station next door also has restrooms.
We have one restroom.
So,
And it's just not enough restroom. That's all. That's all I got to say. It's just not enough restroom. Or to have two, and that other one. I'd like to see that happen. I don't know how this committee thinks, but I'd like to see another restroom put in. Have a motion, we do it or we don't do it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm concerned that we've already signed a contract with the city of Cleveland and that we've already have the scope of work and they've already done, the mayor's already fulfilled everything that for that contract, and that now we're going back to ask for an additional restroom if it's not already there, and that would change everything that we've already done with them. That would be my only concern in this, and I guess that would be my question.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to ask them to do it. They're getting a good deal anyway. So my thoughts that you can ask them to do it, and I have asked them to do it, and they have not turned it down. So we'll see. But it's not gonna change the plans that much. Take one of them offices and turn it into a restroom, except the plumbing part of it. So anyway, we'll just leave that till later. Talk about it. We'll let the mayor talk to Joe about it, I guess. Any other questions on? Okay, I have one other thing that it's not on. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, I have one other thing that we don't have written on here. And that contains to the ballpark. When we have a full crowd there, we're parking on the road, Powerline Road, and congestion out there is gonna be a lot better if you notice all them houses being built there, right at Powerline Road and Minnis Road, and also down Powerline Road. And when there's a crowd there, they're parking out in the streets, and I have not a lot of complaints, but I have had a complaint about that, but they're parking out in Powerline Road. But on the back side of that, there's a spot there that it would probably hold 40, 50 vehicles. And so I had somebody to look at it just to give me a quote on it, what it takes to clean it up and level it down and gravel it. And I got a quote on it of $4,000. That's my quote. That's from me, okay? That's the quote that I got from it. And that's just to level it off and gravel it. And of course, I asked the mayor about it, and he said, well, they don't have another gate to get in the back side, which they do have a gate to get in there. They got 2 fences that they can walk between, and they'd have to put another pay gate, I guess, when they got up to the bleachers. But there is area for them to walk through there. So that's something we can think about. It don't cost that much, and that's to gravel it and level it, and you could park probably 40 or 50 cars in there. So that's something else we can think about. It's on the back side of the ball field. And I mentioned that to the mayor, I think.
And I would say that at budget time, we will look at requesting money to do that. The cost isn't the problem. If they can figure out that makes sense to have 2 entrances. It's not getting in, it's having the entrance to the park. You know, most of the time it's a charge situation. But if having 2 entrances is viable, the $4,000 or $5,000 to fix a parking lot wouldn't be a big deal on the back side where he's talking about. But between now and budget time, we'll be looking at that.
Okay. Anybody have any
Heard.
questions?
I
Yes.
just don't see how they gonna do it that cheap, that big an area, 'cause gravel's high, real
Listen,
high.
the gravel man lives right across the road,
Okay,
Hope, and I called him right there on the spot.
yeah.
And that's
I know
enough
them
gravel.
gravel's high now.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
$700 something load.
Huh?
That's what, it's supposed to be $700 something load, but
Yeah.
you can get a better deal than that if you know somebody over there. So he does.
Well, if he lives
And-
across the road, he can just bring him as he
Yeah.
comes home.
So they quoted me coming in there, cleaning it off, and leveling it up there, and enough for gravel it for $4,000. That's what I. And that's something to think about. That's right on the back side. In fact, you can't go up any further because you run into the disc off. Got a disc off thing up behind the woods, but it's up on a hill in the woods. This is below that. A good area there for parking. So anyway, that's something we can think about too, and maybe we can sell some brick for that. I don't know. Maybe we can sell enough brick to get $4,000. Okay, anybody else have anything?
Motion to adjourn. Sorry,
Motion to
communication
adjourn.
from the audience.
Any communication from the audience? Lori? What are we gonna do now? We're gonna tell us what we're gonna do. Thank you, Lori. We've got a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second.